What record will the Chicago Bears have in the 2021 NFL season? What is up, guys? I'm back with the Chicago Bears offseason videos. I hope you guys have been enjoying all the offseason content. I'll be coming out with a lot more in the coming days and weeks, talking about, our draft prospects, talking about guys like Justin Fields, Tevin Jenkins, because our fan base is really damn excited right now about the future of the franchise. And I can honestly say that I have not felt this energy in the fan base in a very, very long time, okay? At least since 2018. That was the last time we even had any energy comparable to what we're going through right now, because we might have actually got our quarterback of the future in Justin Fields. We might have actually got our offensive tackle in the future in Tevin Jenkins. So those two acquisitions, especially in the draft, it's making our fan base very excited for the future of this team. So there will be a lot of exciting offseason content to talk about, but in this video, guys, I'll be going game by game predicting the record for the 2021 Chicago Bears. Obviously, it is way too early right now. The schedule just got released like a week and a half ago, so a lot of things still could change from now into the beginning of next season. So take everything I say here kind of with a grain of salt, because there could be moves still made in the offseason. For example, the whole situation with Aaron Rodgers, right? If Aaron Rodgers is no longer on the Green Bay Packers next season, that's obviously going to have a big impact on my predictions. If there's other trades that are made as well, if there's other injuries that happen to the Bears or to other teams, those are all going to have a big impact on my predictions, obviously. So I'll also make another record prediction probably just a week or two before the season actually starts. But here's my way too early prediction for next season. So basically how this video is going to work is I'll be going game by game, predicting what's going to happen in each game, giving a brief overview of that game, and telling you guys if I think the Bears are going to win or lose that game. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a very long analysis of each game because it's way too early to be predicting a lot of the stuff that's going to happen. Okay, there could be regressions, there could be injuries, there could be a lot of different stuff that could happen from now until the start of that game that's going to affect the outcome of that game. So it's just going to be a very brief overview, so don't take anything I say here too seriously. It's just very, very early to really predict anything in detail, but it's just kind of for fun, okay? And I also have to say that the Bears do have a ridiculously tough schedule for next season, okay? I'm not sure if you guys saw, but the Bears, according to last season's winning percentages, they have the third toughest schedule in the entire NFL. A tougher schedule than the Green Bay Packers, too, okay? A team that finished ahead of us, they somehow have an easier schedule than the Chicago Bears, which I really do not understand, but that's just how the NFL works. Sometimes you get a little bit unlucky with, the scheduling, with the teams you play, and that's what has happened to the Chicago Bears. It's not the ideal situation because obviously we're going to have a rookie probably starting, at least in my opinion, 60% of the games, because I don't believe that much in Andy Dalton. So if you throw a rookie quarterback out there against a lot of playoff teams, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to make the playoffs and win a lot of your games. But if you do have faith in Justin Fields, anything could be possible because we still do have a decent amount of talent on the roster. But enough talking, let's get on with the video. All right, so week 1 of the NFL season, we're going on the road at Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football under the bright lights to take on Matt Stafford and the LA Rams. Okay, that's going to be a very, very tough game for us. It's a team with a veteran defense that has a lot of superstars on it, like Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, all those pass rushers they have. They did lose their defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley, so that's probably going to have a big impact on them, but they still have more than enough talent to still have, a top 10 defense, in my opinion. And they're obviously bringing in Matt Stafford, okay, an upgrade over Jared Goff. They have an elite offensive line. They have playmakers all over the field for Matt Stafford. It's a very solid football team from top to bottom. It's going to be a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. And I think in this game, Andy Dalton is most likely going to be starting, okay? Even though I would say Justin Fields does have at least, a 20% chance of starting because I think he could be the better quarterback in training camp. I feel like Matt Nagy is going to play it a little bit safe and at least not start Justin Fields in week 1 against a defense this good. So if Andy Dalton is going there on the road on national television against a defense this good, I think this is definitely going to be a loss for the Chicago Bears. I mean, I don't have that much faith in Dalton. He had one of the worst deep balls in the NFL last year. He wasn't that good under pressure. There's just a lot of, flaws in Dalton's game that I don't think he's going to be able to overcome against a defense this good. So I have us losing that game. Moving on to week 2, then we have the Bengals at home, okay? And this is probably going to be an Andy Dalton revenge game, okay? I do see Andy Dalton starting here just because, again, I don't think Matt Nagy is going to pull the plug that early on Dalton. I think Dalton is at least going to get 2 or 3 games, and the rest of the season we could see Justin Fields. But at this point, I'm still predicting Dalton is going to be the starter, and he's going to be going up against his old team, okay, the team that he was on for the majority of his career. And I think this is actually going to be a win for the Chicago Bears, simply because Dalton is going to be extra motivated to prove something to his old team. The Bengals, in general, don't have a very good defense, at least not compared to the other teams we're playing this year. So we could put up a decent amount of points. And the Bengals offense, although they have obviously Joe Burrow, a young quarterback with a lot of potential. They added Jamar Chase, a superstar wide receiver. They added help on the offensive line. It might take them a while to fully gel, but I feel like at week 2, our veteran defense could have the upper hand here. So I have the Bears winning this game against the Bengals to move on to 1-1 on the season. Going then to week 3 at the Cleveland Browns. This is going to be another very tough game, okay? Because the Browns also are going to be a Super Bowl contender this year, in my opinion, okay? They have a quarterback in Baker Mayfield, who, although is probably not among the top quarterbacks in the game, he's more than good enough to win you games with how elite the rest of the Browns roster is, okay? They have talent on the offensive line. They have star running backs. They added a lot of help on defense this year, especially in the draft. So the Browns are going to be a very improved team, and I don't see Andy Dalton winning this game for us, okay? I think Andy Dalton is still going to be in here, but I think this is actually going to be Andy Dalton's last game starting for the Chicago Bears. Dalton's going to have a horrible game. The Bears are going to lose by a decent amount. And next game, Justin Fields will be making his rookie debut for the Chicago Bears. Week 4 of the 2021 NFL season, the Chicago Bears will be facing off against the Detroit Lions at home, and rookie quarterback Justin Fields will be making his rookie debut for the Chicago Bears, okay? I feel like this is the perfect time to throw Justin Fields in there because it will be against a very, very bad football team, the Detroit Lions, a team that I think could honestly lose all of their games this year, okay? That's how bad their roster is. They have practically no receivers. They have a horrible defense still. The only good thing about their entire team is their offensive line. But what is that offensive line protecting? Jared Goff, okay, a mediocre quarterback. So I don't think the Lions are going to be good this year. So this is the perfect game to put Justin Fields into the starting lineup. And I feel like he's going to have a phenomenal rookie debut, okay? Being at home, against a very weak opponent, I feel like Justin Fields could dominate in this game and get Bears fans really, really excited for the rest of the season. So I have the Bears winning this game against the Lions to move on to 2-2 on the season. Week 5, then we'll be traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr. And I think this is also going to be a dub for the Bears, okay? Back-to-back dubs because the Raiders downgraded heavily on the offensive line. They practically got rid of all of their offensive linemen. So it's going to be a brand new offensive line, and putting a brand new offensive line against a team that has Khalil Mack, against a team that has Akeem Hicks, Bilal Nichols, Eddie Goldman coming back, maybe Robert Quinn having a bounce back year. I feel like our defense could dominate in this game and make life very difficult for Derek Carr. And also the Raiders secondary, their defense doesn't really scare me that much at all. So I feel like Justin Fields could also have a pretty decent day in this game. So I feel like the Bears are going to win this game to move on to 3-2 on the year. Week 6, then we got the Green Bay Packers at home. Okay, a team that we just cannot beat for the life of us. And I feel like if Aaron Rodgers is still on the team, which for the purposes of my prediction video, I'm still going to predict he's going to be on the team because he hasn't left yet. If he is still on the team, I think the Bears are going to lose this game. Okay, I don't think that it's going to be a blowout by any means. I don't think the Packers are going to dominate this game because I do think the Bears' talent now is kind of comparable in some areas to the talent on the Packers team. But at quarterback, the Packers are going to have a significant advantage just because Aaron Rodgers has been in the NFL for a long, long time. Going up against a rookie quarterback who is probably going to make some mistakes during his rookie year, I feel like that's going to be very tough for the Chicago Bears to overcome. Okay, even though I have a lot of belief in Justin Fields, going up against Aaron Rodgers during his first year, that's going to be a very, very tough matchup. So I have the Bears losing that game to drop down to 3-3 on the year. Moving on to week 7, then we're going to be at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay, a team that Nick Foles beat last year at home, but a team that also won the Super Bowl last year. And I feel like this is going to be a loss for the Bears as well. I just think the Buccaneers, top to bottom, have much more talent on the field than the Bears are going to have. And there's a significant experience gap between Tom Brady and Justin Fields. And I feel like that gap is going to be very difficult for the Bears to overcome. I mean, there's a reason why rookie quarterbacks usually do not win that many games their first year because there's a huge learning curve going from college to the NFL. I mean, there's so much stuff you have to know, and Tom Brady knows all of it, but Justin Fields in his first year is not going to know all of it. So I think the Bears are going to lose this game. There's no shame in losing this game because it is a Super Bowl contending team with the greatest quarterback of all time at the helm. So it's not going to be a big deal if you lose this, but I do have the Bears losing this to drop down to 3-4 on the year. Going to week 8 then, we got the 49ers at home, and this could be a very fun game if Trey Lance is actually starting, because then it would be two rookie quarterbacks facing off head-to-head at Soldier Field. Okay, Justin Fields, the guy the 49ers passed up on, versus Trey Lance. Okay, also a very talented quarterback prospect, but a guy that has, I feel like, a lot more question marks than Justin Fields does have. So it's going to be very fun to watch that matchup if it happens, but most likely it is going to be Jimmy G starting, just because I feel like the 49ers want to give Trey Lance as much time as possible to develop, and barring an injury to Jimmy G, I don't think Trey Lance is going to be starting. But there is a good chance that Trey Lance could be starting because Jimmy G gets injured practically every single year. So whatever the case is, man, if Jimmy G is starting, I do think the Bears lose this game, just because, again, there's a significant experience gap between, Jimmy G, a guy that's been in the NFL for a while, to a rookie quarterback, but also because the 49ers roster, top to bottom, is a better roster right now than the Bears roster. Okay, they have all their injured guys from last year coming back. They have Nick Bosa coming back, George Kittle fully healthy, so it's going to be a very tough matchup for the Bears, and I feel like they are going to lose this one to drop down to 3-5 on the year. If Trey Lance is starting, then I feel like we do have a better chance of winning, but if Jimmy G is here, I would probably pick the 49ers to win. Going to week 9, then, we'll be traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers on Monday Night Football under the bright lights for a second primetime game of the year. And we have beaten the Steelers a lot as of late. Okay, we have a 3-game winning streak against them, even though we've had some pretty bad teams in that time span. We even beat them with Mike Glennon somehow, which I still do not understand. But if you look at the Steelers team today, I feel like they're one of the biggest candidates for a regression in 2021. Okay, they did not have a great offseason, in my opinion. They did lose a few folks. They did add some talent like Nagy Harris in the draft, and they did get a little bit better in some key areas. But I feel like overall, as a team, they're still far too old. They have a quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger that showed major signs of regression last year. So if that continues into next year, we could steal this game on the road on Monday night, guys. I mean, it's not as crazy as it sounds. Okay, Roethlisberger has not been good as of late. Our defense, it still has a lot of talent on it, so we could take advantage of some of the mistakes that Ben Roethlisberger makes. And going up against a Pittsburgh defense that does have good pass rushers, that does have a solid secondary, I feel like Justin Fields could do just enough to steal this game on the road to move on to 4-5 on the year. Week 10, then, we have the bye, which is probably the perfect time to have the bye in your season. Okay, it's pretty much right in the middle of our season, which I really do like. So having that Week 10 bye, it's a good chance for our players to rest up and hopefully, prepare for the second half of the season. So Week 10 is the bye. Moving on to Week 11, then, we're going to be at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, Lamar Jackson versus Justin Fields. That is going to be such an exciting matchup to watch. Okay, between two dynamic athletes, two guys that can run sub 4.4 40-yard dashes, that have great arm strength as well, like a lot of athleticism on both sides of the field. So that's going to be a very, very entertaining matchup to watch. And the Ravens honestly should win this one. I mean, they have more talent on the football field. I feel like they have the better defense. They have a better offensive line. They have, a quarterback obviously with more experience in this league. But just for no reason at all, I'm going to pick the Bears to win, because every single year the Bears win a game that they are not supposed to win. Okay, last year that was the game against the Buccaneers. This year I'm predicting it's going to be the game against the Baltimore Ravens. Even though I feel like the Baltimore Ravens are going to be a very good football team this year, I feel like somehow Justin Fields, he's going to struggle through the air, but he's going to make a lot of plays with his legs in this game, and the Bears are going to win a low-scoring matchup against the Ravens at Soldier Field. So I have the Bears winning this one and moving on to 5-5 on the year. Week 12, we got the Lions on Turkey Day. Okay, on Thanksgiving, we're going to be traveling to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions for what seems like the 100th time we've been facing off against the Lions on Thanksgiving. It's happened a lot as of late. It didn't happen last year, but the last 2 years before that, I believe, we did play the Lions on Thanksgiving. But I'm not going to waste too much time with this one, guys. I think the Bears are definitely going to win again, just because the Lions do not have that much talent. Okay, besides their offensive line, they don't have enough talent on the field to compete with the majority of teams in the league this year. So I think Justin Fields, going in there on Thanksgiving, he's going to be eating his turkey leg, having a phenomenal day, and the Bears are going to win to move on to 6-5 on the year. Week 13, we got the Arizona Cardinals at home at Soldier Field. It's going to be Kyler Murray versus Justin Fields, another exciting matchup between two young dynamic athletes and quarterbacks. And if you look at what the Cardinals did this offseason, they obviously did get better in a lot of key areas. Okay, they added J.J. Watt to a pass rush that's already really talented. They got Zaven Collins at linebacker in the draft. They also drafted Rondale Moore, a receiver I really liked this year coming out of Purdue. So they have a lot of talent on the field. And again, it's going to be a very tough matchup for a team like the Bears. But I feel like at home, okay, and also at this point in time, we're going to be pretty hot, okay? We're going to be on a 3-game winning streak coming into this game. I feel like Justin Fields is going to be kind of getting into a groove, gaining confidence, playing some great ball. And I feel like our defense also, if it does reach anywhere close to its potential, this could be around the time our defense does start playing great ball as well, okay? Week 13, that's enough time to gel with our new defensive coordinator. So I think the Bears are going to be a pretty solid football team at this point in time. And I feel like against the Arizona Cardinals, a team that did not even make the playoffs last year, we could very well beat that team at Soldier Field to move on to 7-5 on the year. Week 14, we're going to be traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers on Sunday Night Football on primetime television. And this is going to be another extremely difficult matchup, okay? Going to Green Bay, a place that we have pretty much never won at in the last 2 decades. Going up against the MVP of the league, Aaron Rodgers from last year. It's going to be a very tough matchup, and I don't have the Bears winning this one, okay? I have the Packers sweeping us again in back-to-back years. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that changes, but until I see the Bears beat the Packers, how am I going to predict us to beat the Packers, especially with Aaron Rodgers still there, okay? They have a big advantage at quarterback. Their rest of the team is still pretty decent too, so I just don't see how in this type of year, okay, in a developmental type of year for the Bears, I don't think we beat the Packers in that year unless, again, Aaron Rodgers is not in Green Bay. So I have the Bears losing this game at Lambeau to drop down to 7-6 on the year. Week 15, we got the Vikings at home on Monday Night Football under the bright lights for 2 weeks in a row. We're going to be facing off against Kirk Cousins at Soldier Field, a team that we have dominated, honestly, in the Matt Nagy era. Okay, we've only lost to the Vikings 1 time in the entire Matt Nagy era, and I think on Monday night, that winning streak is gonna continue. Okay, I have the Bears winning this one to go on to 8-6 on the year, and that's mainly because the Vikings defense, I think it still has way more question marks than people realize. Okay, if you look at their cornerbacks, they don't really have many proven options at corner. They did sign Patrick Peterson, obviously, which is a good veteran for them, but Pat Pete also is not the same as he was like 5 or 6 years ago. So I do have concerns about the secondary, and I feel like Justin Fields could take advantage of that secondary, okay, if it's not as good as I think it will be. And if you look at the Vikings offense, I mean, they do have a good offense, obviously. Like, they're going to put up a lot of points next year, with Dalvin Cook, with Kirk Cousins being a decent quarterback, with, Justin Jefferson going into a second year, Adam Thielen. They have so many options all over the field for Kirk Cousins, but I feel like at home, the Bears are going to take this one because historically, I mean, Kirk Cousins has been pretty bad on Monday night, but also just the Bears in general at Soldier Field against the Vikings. We have won most of our games, just except when Nick Foles is playing. So I have the Bears winning this one to move on to 8-6 on the year. Week 16, we got the Seahawks in Seattle. That's going to be another very tough matchup on the road, okay, against a veteran quarterback in Russell Wilson, even though he had some grumblings with the front office. If he's back in Seattle, I mean, he's going to be a candidate to win MVP like he is every single year because he's a top 5 quarterback in the game right now. And I feel like they did do enough to help him at least a little bit on the offensive line where it's not going to be as much of a problem as it was last year. So I think the Bears are going to lose this one, guys. I mean, I think the Seahawks are a much better football team, and especially on the road, I don't think a rookie quarterback is going to win that game, even though it would be pretty exciting. So I have the Bears losing this one to drop down to 8-7 on the year. Then going on to week 17, we got the Giants at home at Soldier Field, a team that is honestly kind of confusing to me right now because I don't know if they're going to take that jump with Daniel Jones. Okay, it all pretty much depends on Daniel Jones. They have such a great team now all across the field. They have a solid elite defense, in my opinion. They have receiving talent all across the board. They have great running backs, Saquon Barkley coming back. It all depends on what Daniel Jones does this year. But if I had to guess, I don't think Daniel Jones is going to take that next step. And if he doesn't, the Giants are going to be a very mediocre football team at best next season, which is a team I think the Bears can beat at Soldier Field. So I have the Bears winning this one to move on to 9-7 on the year. Then going on to our last game of the year, week 18, the first week 18 of all time in the NFL. we're going to be playing the Minnesota Vikings on the road. And since I already had the Bears winning the last game against the Vikings, I'm actually going to predict a loss here for the Chicago Bears. Even though I have a lot of question marks about the Vikings defense, you know, I still think the Vikings are good enough as a team to win at least one game against the Bears, especially being at home. So I have the Bears losing this game to finish the season at 9-8. Okay, so there you have it. That is my final prediction. I have the Bears finishing the 2021 season with 9 wins and 8 losses. And if this actually happened, guys, this would be an extremely successful season. Okay, if you look at how tough the Bears schedule is with how many playoff teams we have on there to start a rookie quarterback, if we actually win 9 games, that would be an insanely successful year. Even if we don't make the playoffs with that record, I would be more than happy with that record. And obviously this is kind of an optimistic side of the prediction. It's more realistic that we finish with 7 or 8 wins, but I do think if Justin Fields does, you know, develop well in the NFL, if he is ready to adjust to life in the NFL fast, we could definitely win 9 games with the talent we have on the field right now. I mean, we won 8 games last year, the last 2 years with subpar quarterback play. If we get even average quarterback play this year, we could win 9 games with a very tough schedule. Now, I also have to say, though, if Aaron Rodgers is no longer on the Packers, my predictions are definitely going to change. Okay, then I could honestly see the Bears winning 11 games just because I don't think the Packers could beat us without Aaron Rodgers. That's how good Aaron Rodgers is, and that's how much he's dominated us. If he is no longer on the team, the Bears could very well win the NFC North next season. So if that actually happens, if Aaron Rodgers does leave, I will do an updated prediction video because that would change a lot of things. But here's my prediction as it stands as of right now for the 2021 NFL season. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, if you agree, if you disagree, what your predictions are. But as always, guys, bear down.